everyone, and welcome to the fifth Joyous Everyday Living radio show. I'm Beth Amine, and I'm here with my dear friend and co-host, Patty Teal, and we are sponsored and hosted by Hub for Humanity. Now, this show has a focus that underlies all the content like a certain fabric for each show, no matter how varied or how many permutations we have on it. And that focus is consistently cultivating joy and staying connected to love, and how we do that in all these many approaches. So it is also loosely based on my book, Joyous Everyday Living, with the tagline, Party Till Checkout Time. And I am just so excited about doing this radio show. It's been incredible fun. It seems like it writes itself. And it's very synchronistic according to what I'm going through during the week and the conversations that I hear all around me. So it's a wonderful thing. It has a life of its own, and I'm just here to let it out and get it to you. And I so hope that it's meaningful and enjoyable to you. So in our last four segments, the first thing we did was we picked a word for the new year that kind of gave us a focus, a soft focus, or a guiding light as to what we would like our year to look like, how we would like it to unfold, so that if we get a little off kilter, we always have our word. Now, I chose unlimited because I had been experiencing blocks, and I'm ready for unlimited. And Patty chose courageous, but then she added courageously unlimited. So she got really even bigger and bolder, and you'll find it very easy to find a word. So I suggest you do that. Then the next thing we did was we rewrote our story. So many of us keep telling the same story about our lives over and over. It's a story of the past, and it really doesn't allow us to grow or create something new or have room for more joy. So this story that we wrote was our most positive possibility, using your imagination, not paying attention to current conditions at all. What would you absolutely like your life to look like? And then we explored creative process, or your comfort level with the unknown and living in the unknown, which is really what happens when you take on these words and these stories and you start redefining yourself. And this is how we get the great result of linking to our own personal power. And that is just the most wonderful feeling. So now that we were powerful and we loved ourselves and we have a new future that we wrote, we explored what it would be like to join others and be in community and be collaborative, and all the enhancement of joy that connectedness brings. So I also then, when I was thinking about all these four segments, and I realized that this show requires you to have the basic premise or the basic belief that you can create your reality, your own reality, that it is possible. And not all of us have that, because it's really a challenging concept. So I was looking into that a little deeper, and I know that science and the theories and models of science really help us in looking at the world and understanding the reality around us. So in order to create your joyous life, you really have to believe that you have this power to create your own reality. And really, it's a very challenging concept. Not a lot of us have it, because it's very contrary to what we've been taught so much of our lives. And then when I was thinking about it, I realized that science really helps us create our model of understanding of the world around us. And we've been very enmeshed in a very old model of science. It's called the Newtonian model, and it's about cause and effect. So if you do this, this will happen. Things are very predictable, and you wait for something outside of yourself to provide an effect. So events are predictable, and eventually you actually live your life as a victim of your environment and your circumstances, because there's a cause and there's effect. So things happen to you in this old scientific model of reality. But now what's come along is there's been a new model. Scientific models change. It's called the quantum model, and they see that energy and matter are the same, that everything's a vibration, and in fact, matter is energy that's been really, really slowed down. And they have found out that when they conducted experiments, it was the observer of the experiment that affected the outcome. So in this quantum model, you cause the effect. So it's absolutely different, and it's completely empowering. You cannot be a victim, because in this belief, you create your effect, you create your own reality. So now what you think and feel makes it happen, and you don't have to wait for it to happen. And this is the true creative power that all humans possess. It's a wonderful thing, and we really want to start realizing that more and more. So that being said, where do we get caught up in all of this? And that is our usual habits and our unconscious programming that stands in the way. So I spent a lot of time this week really looking at my habits, things that I do regularly, and I was completely astounded at how much I am on automatic pilot. It's just crazy. I mean, everything from letting the gas gauge go to completely empty so that I have to get freaked out. I mean, I really don't need to do that, but just the way, I do, and the specific ways I eat or think all the time, I just went, oh my gosh, I'm on automatic pilot so much of the time. And I noticed that if I'm not careful when I get up, I think the same things I did before. Like, oh, I don't have enough of that. Where am I going to get it? Problems are coming first. So we have to very consciously begin to look at our automatic patterns, especially because they're so rooted in the past. So what are these habits that define and control us? They're simply a set of automatic behaviors and responses that we've done so many times over and over that we don't even know that we're doing it. It's like an automatic computer program. You tell your same story over and over again through the same circuits in your brain with your old past and your old memories and your old problems. So if you're going to start your day with all your past thoughts, like I have done, then you're going to most likely, the past is going to become your future, because that's what you're consistently thinking over and over. So how do these habits form? Well, we have responses to our parents' parents', our ancestry, cultural input, and really that's where they come from is just not that important. We're told that it is, but really it's just not. I think the really important thing is to believe that your thoughts create your current reality, that you can create a fresh future, and in order to do so, you have to think differently than the way you did in the past. So that you're not run by your programs and you actually have the liberating joy that is really yours. So and then you get your free will, which is what we're here for. So how do you change up all these memorized behaviors? Well, when I have my theories, and then, well, really there's two things, according to me. The first thing would be meditation. That's such a crucially important practice because it's one of the only times of the day, even if it's 5 minutes, where you just stop your current thoughts from worry, blah, 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 over and over and over. So you stop, you let go of the resistance, you're in empty space, and you really have time for new thoughts to come in. And it's said that in that meditative state is when you can easily reprogram the brain or the subconscious mind. So that's a very important practice. But for me, as I was looking at it this week, I think even a more important practice is pattern interrupt. In other words, just really be aware of what you're thinking. And especially if what you're thinking doesn't feel good, you got to go like, whoa, I'm doing it again. And just go, okay, let me think differently. So I had kind of a health thing. I mentioned it at the end of the year. I had to take a bunch of time off, which is very unlike me, but it was the biggest gift that ever could have happened, really, because I knew that my system, my operating system inside me had to change, or I could not move forward with my own story. I was simply too small and too unencumbered by all these paradigms of the past to move into all the expansion, the unlimited, the new places that I really wanted to go. So since I was knocked out for a month and a half or so, I really took the time, and I knew it was part of my healing process, that my body was simply giving me a message to change. It was part of my healing process to go in and really look at all the areas of my life where I was blocked or I had limited myself. And I am proud and pleased to say that after all that, I really am reacting differently. I sometimes I can't, I'm just shocked where I would have seen lack in the circumstance. I'm now relaxed and I see abundance. Like, oh, that's abundance. Maybe that's guiding me in a certain way, instead of like freaking out and going like, how can this be happening? I'm going, oh, okay, yeah, that could be a signpost for me. And I see abundance in that. And that was huge for me, not seeing lack. And even in my interactions with people, instead of feeling left out or hurt, I'm going like, oh, I can relax with that. Yeah, I see that maybe this space is good for me. So actually, it is possible to change. I did it. And so, I mean, of course, it's an ongoing process. I think mainly you look at where when you feel hurt or you don't feel good, that will really show you your patterns. And so what thoughts in your brain do you want to rewire and actually create your own reality? What behaviors? And then you also can rehearse your new behaviors mentally, and that becomes part of what is occurring. So instead of always reacting to this, in the same person in the same way, you can shift it around. So I've been, again, I was saying, as my week goes on, these themes just start showing themselves to me. So I have a really close and dear friend who came to visit me. No, actually, I'm sorry. She didn't come to visit me. She came to do a bunch of important stuff. She came into town and was too busy to visit me. So I kept hearing from her, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't see you. I feel so bad. And after like the third time of contacting me, I just said, the guilt thing is exhausting me. Can we please stop this now? I'm tired already. I said, if I want to talk to you, I'll call you. And I get that you can't. So, and she said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She said, thank you for helping me identify that. She said she'd been wanting to liberate herself from unnecessary worry about what other people want for her. Especially as women, we're trained like, oh my gosh, I have to predict what they're going to want from me and then give it to them, or feel totally guilty about me not being able to. And, no, you don't. That's all self-created like mess. And so, I said, oh, so you really do want to get in touch with all those things. And how are you doing that? And she says, okay, so, you gave me the cue on that one. And she said, when I catch myself as early as possible without gaining a lot of momentum on the issue or the thing. And then I can interrupt the pattern. And she said the most important thing is to be really gentle with yourself and kind to yourself, and not go like, oh, you're doing that again, but just be really self-loving and not cruel. And that also really helps in this process of honoring yourself so much that you really just do not want to drag a lot of this stuff with you. And you liberate your energy and your free will and your personal power and your ability to have joy and not confine yourself. We're really trained sometimes that guilt, pain, and suffering is some high ideal, but I'm not really, I'm not kind of buying that. So, you might want to take a look at that. But, and then I said, so what motivated you to want to make these changes? And she just said, I just really want to, at this phase in my life, want to feel fully alive. So I went, yes, let's do that. It's a practice, right? So I know that making all these new choices can be really uncomfortable, but as I said, you're leaping into the unknown. It's a creative process, but you really did get a new life, and you also get different responses from other people. So also, and, anything that you experience as a hurt or, even anger, angers can be healthy, but it's basically all about your limitations. And that is a key. So beliefs and thoughts that you have thought, beliefs are thoughts that you have thought over and over and over again. And so in order to make, I'm just doing a little recap, in order to make changes to those habitual responses that confine you, that are your own, meditation is one, and then pattern interrupt. So a lot of people like me had to go through my mini health crisis. A lot of people really will go through trauma or will go through really big crisis to wake us up to make these kinds of changes. And we do that, we all do that, but you can also do it just from the place of deep inspiration and self-love. Like I love this, my life. I honor that I'm in a body experiencing this on the most beautiful planet in the galaxy. I mean, maybe, I think it could be. And I just want to honor it so much that I'm willing to make these shifts and open up my capacity for life. So that's really good. Let's see, what else did I want to say? Oh yeah, so when you free up this energy, your body also responds because it can be very addictive. These fight and flight ancestral ancient responses create a lot of chemicals in the body that are not that good for it, not good for it at all. And the bad chemicals can become really addictive, and your body's in perpetual stress, and it does really wear it down. Because I've noticed also, since my little rest period, people are going like, oh my gosh, you look so good, and you look youthful and alive, and what are you doing? And I'm going like, okay, I'm not making so many of those bad fight or flight chemicals all the time. So, and take a look at your ancestral patterns that are carried down. And really, when you come down to it, this kind of self-exploration, it's really kind of fun. It's like not horrible. It's super fun. So enjoy yourself with it. So, oh yeah, one more exercise that I'm giving you. I always give you little exercises, but they're good. It's all time well spent in honoring and creating this life of your own, in your own reality that we're talking about so much. So one thing I found was helpful was when I read my story, I would go through the different parts of things that I wanted, that I created, and I check on how much I believed it. Like some of the things I really believe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm all in. I'm a 10 on that one. And a lot of them, like that I wrote in my story, I went, okay, that's a 2. I don't really believe that I can have that, really. And that's where when you're gonna block your manifesting. So you want to go down into the beliefs that are there in those places where you believe you can't have that. If it's money, maybe you don't believe you're worthy of abundance, or you'll see the underlying patterns, and that's a really easy way to help you see where you're limiting yourself, and then get in there and just shift it up. Take a little time, write it out. I write a lot. Writing is so helpful. Really, it's good. You'll always get an answer writing, it seems. So that's good. So we want you to be the power in your own. Here's like kind of the finish up of this is, in order to be the true power in your own life that you are meant to be this week, explore your automatic habits that and your automatic responses, and you're going to find a lot of great stuff under that. Do pattern interrupt, meditation, let it all go, catch it when you feel it, rehearse the new. And here's one thing I've been thinking about a lot: be a master of positive interpretation. That'll get you far. I've been really working on that, and oh my gosh, that is the most pleasant and joyful thing ever. So, given that, that is our joyous everyday living topic this week. Do you believe that anything is possible, and the thoughts that you consistently think create your reality? So I hope that you do believe that, and I hope you've enjoyed this segment. And now it's time for Unplugged with the great and wonderful and honest and Patty Teal.
Oh, I love
Hey,
my little
Patty
intro.
Teal, where are
That's so
you?
great. And I love this topic. Oh my
You
gosh.
do?
I do. And in recent years, and I do mean, maybe 10 years or more, this has become very mainstream,
Uh-huh.
manifesting your reality. And yet I think most of us, including me, still have a way to go with it. I mean, I believe it. I think everything that you said is true. But then I look around at my life and I'm not quite there. That being said, we had a dream, and I'm telling you, it was 15 years ago at
Mhm.
least. And I'm not really sure how long ago. We had
Yeah,
traveled
please.
to a trade show in Denver, and I was selling my children's recordings, and Beth had her paintings and different things. And we went there, and we talked about having this radio show together. And we were thinking of calling it the Twin Tappers because you can see we're twins. And we just thought it'd be funny because when we stand side by side, she's like, so little next to me, and she has the deeper voice and I have the kind of more lyrical voice. So much about us is opposite, and yet in a lot of our thinking we really are a lot alike. And so
Uh-huh.
we thought we were hilarious, thinking about
And
that.
we are.
But looking back, I think that seed was planted, and here it's finally happening in
Mhm.
2019. Not that we couldn't have made it happen sooner, but there were always logistics. A few years ago, I moved to the Sedona area, and Beth's back in Santa Barbara. There's always finding the time and the funding to do that. But we're just like, I'm going to be fearless this year. And what's the other word I am, Beth? Fearlessly unlimited. Yes.
And
And
courageously unlimited.
courageous. Actually, I think I said fearless, but same thing.
Yeah,
And
same thing.
yeah, and we're just going to do it no matter what. We want to do this, and it's a great platform for us. So here
Mhm.
we go. That being said, I do believe I have some subconscious patterns that have gotten in my way. I love breaking the habit of being myself, and I think Joe Dispenza has a book titled very similarly, "Break the Habit of Being Yourself." That
Oh,
nasty
yes, yes,
habit.
yes. Yeah.
And so I think most of us have an area in our life that we are not where we want them to be. I hate to use the word struggle, but whether it's finding the right mate in our life, or sustaining the money we want in our life, or
Mhm.
whatever, most of us have one area that we're not completely satisfied with. And so I guess you can look at that and say, I if I call it work, I don't know, is that the right thing to call it? Maybe I need to be especially aware of my thoughts in that area. Do you think that's correct?
Yeah, I think you've hit on a number of things there, Patty. One of them being like, oh, it doesn't look, my reality now doesn't look the way I want it to. And I know
Mhm.
Esther and Abraham Hicks talks about that a lot, as that's a basic human challenge. One of our big challenges is as we are creating, we're looking at what we've got. And I think you said, like, here's our show so many years later, we kept a vision of it. And
Mhm.
so, and it does materialize. I always knew it was going to happen regardless of the circumstances. So I think you have to keep your vision, even though your current circumstances or conditions are not your dream. And eventually it does come about. And then the other thing about that you said about you asked me it was just now you just asked me, do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it was about can we look around and see an area of our life
Oh,
that is
yes,
not
that area of our lives, right. That
yeah.
area of our lives that is most, and then it's almost like you have to look like that one that's the hardest, that's where all the gold is. That's where all the good stuff is. It's in there. Because that's where you're most likely to find where you're limiting your greatest strengths or your greatest, like I've had so much trouble with lack and seeing lack in economics or lacks in the connection of art and support, and where really my greatest strengths are in all the abundance that I have. So it's almost like it's pointing me to where the biggest parts of myself are. And so that's that abundance in everything. There's abundance even in where you're limiting yourself. So yeah, I think we can often have one area that's more congested. Some people are in relationships, and I think it just is formed because of how you've responded to things culturally and in your past. That you pick more one area to be congested in for whatever reasons. And children can have the exact same parents, exact same childhood experiences, and they'll be congested in different areas. But I think that when you delve into it, that's where you find your biggest inner growth, and so you just look at it like, okay, I'm going in. This is going to be good.
Yeah, and I
What do you
loved
think?
what you said about when you write a story and you're noticing that some of the things in the story you don't quite believe your own story, like you feel
Yeah.
a little
Oh,
pullback,
yeah.
a little resistance, a little. So, what do you do in that case? Do you focus on other things? Do you just kind of chip away at it? Do you make it a different, smaller goal? You reach that and you go, well, I guess I could. If I can do that, I can do the next. How do you get through those blockages or those automatic things that are inside that maybe you didn't even realize were there, but when you that's why I think so often affirmations don't work, and they can work, of course they can work, but if inside you're saying, oh, who are you kidding, but you're saying the words outside, I mean, somehow your inside thoughts have to and beliefs have to correspond with that to make it effective. Same
I
thing with
think
the
you
story.
said everything that you need to do. Sometimes you have to get away from it. You said
Okay.
everything. You already gave all those answers. Sometimes you
Okay.
just need to get away from it and find a way to feel your own happiness,
Hmm.
however that happens, and that kind of opens some doors a bit. You can have smaller goals that you realize, like you said, that you actually feel you have the power to
Hmm.
materialize, so that you get the idea, oh, I do have that power. Because if you, like it said, if you create one thing, if you create a little thing, you can create a big thing. It's all the same creative process. I do think consistent focus, I mean, is something that's really important to me and worked for me. Like, I gotta keep reading that story, and eventually I start believing it more and more. And then although, it's so easy to go back to the habitual grooves. Is that a little
See,
puppy?
my puppy just joined
Oh,
me.
look at
Supposed
that
to be
cute
locked
little
away because
puppy.
he's a
Let's
bit
ask
of
the
a
puppy.
barker.
Is that the
And
smart
he
puppy?
could,
Can we ask the puppy what it thinks?
puppy, what do you want to manifest? Oh boy,
Oh,
he goes after
love.
what he wants. When he wants something, he's just like ruthless, kind of sneaky too.
He is so cute. Oh my God.
Yeah, I
I
know
guess
he's a
that's all we have to do.
fun.
It. We don't even need
I
to
know.
talk
I'll
anymore.
study
Cute
my
puppy
wise.
shots.
I'll study him and I'll try to be more like him and we'll see what happens. But I think that's really not a bad idea. I think he manifests what he wants. That's for sure. Yeah.
Wow, he's
So
got it wired.
he's
Plus,
got it
if
wired.
you're a cute puppy, you don't have to even speak. You just put your picture up and you'll get a million hits on
I know. I know.
Facebook.
Okay, let's kiss.
So, and
Yeah.
everything is perpetual attention. It's nothing's going to really change unless
Hmm.
you do some things, like you
Hmm.
do meditate. It's somewhat. It's really
Yeah,
hard to
I
think.
don't
It's
do it as
somewhat of a
consistently
regular
as I
basis.
should. It does give you a, when you're in that feeling of,
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's so hard to even put words to it, but space, big,
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, he's gone. More
I'm going to
important things
stop
to
us. Get
do.
rid of the dog and I'll be back. Okay, hold
What?
on, Beth.
Sure.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, we could take the barking.
Oh, no. Okay, can you take the dog back upstairs? Lord, somebody's coming in from the grocery. The dog's barking. I knew it was getting
I like
crazy
this
here.
part. Leave it in. Don't cut that part
We'll
out.
see. We'll see. Anyway.
I like this part. So
Oh.
all those things, and I do feel that it's changing. I mean, like I said, I'm in this lab with everybody. I am just working this stuff all the time. And I do feel like I can believe my story more, like I'm worthy of it more. The more I repeat it and the more I practice, being that person ahead of it, you just like, that's another thing you can visualize like athletes do, right? It's super effective. Visualize yourself in love or with the person that you want, or visualize yourself driving the car that you want. And all these practices really do make a difference. So, like I said, you just can't wake up with your story of the past and don't do anything and expect to have a different life. I mean, you may get a crisis that causes you to change, but other than that, you got to read your story. You got to stay happy. Just, be in joy. Do whatever makes you feel good. Step back if you need to. Just all the things you've been talking about, Patty.
Well, I'm going to give it a try. And I think one of the first things, too, is just to be aware of your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't even realize the thoughts. So I have done this in the past, but I'm going to redo it again for sure and start to be more aware. And then sometimes when you have a negative thought, it's so easy for me to go, oh no, I thought that thought, now what's going to happen? And somebody recently that I interviewed just said, it's just like an ember, just brush it off, don't give it too much attention, just brush it
Mm-hmm.
off, So I think I try to think about that and, more often.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
The momentum. Just don't give it momentum.
Don't give it
That's what my
momentum.
friend said. When it happens, I just don't give it momentum. Like, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, 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 blah. There's a
Yeah. Yeah.
switch.
Right.
Pattern
Just make the
interrupt.
switch, brush it off before it burns you, and you're just fine. Just a hot ember and it's gone. So I think that
Nice.
is a great first step, that awareness. I'm going to
Uh-huh.
start doing that. And I need to pay attention to what subconscious thoughts I might have, because I think there are some there. And some of them I realize, and I never used to realize this, is a feeling of not being deserving. And I don't know where I picked that up, but sometimes when I'm in a very opulent place or something, I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that feeling of resistance to that, and yet I know I want it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
there's
know.
something there, so I need to figure that out. So this will be a good laboratory for us, and maybe we can reveal what we figured out next time when people listen to
Let's
their
do it.
thoughts.
And
Let's
I
do it.
think that that is pervasive culturally, that we're not enough. We all
Mm-hmm.
have to work with our worth. Somehow it's just set up
Yeah.
that way, whether it's competition, other people are better, or they have more, or they're this or they're that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that, like I think we had a whole show on that, almost was the self-love show, that is so crucial to joy, and that you're so worthy of it. We are also worthy of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're alive. We're
Right.
made of love. We're
Right.
alive. This is crazy.
And why not me have all that good stuff?
And why
Why
not
not
you?
me?
There's plenty. Anybody, and we can all see it from the outside. Like I go like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
you've been such a devoted person to so many people your whole life. If anybody deserves it, it's you. You've just been,
Oh, well, thank
wonderful
you.
and kind and thoughtful and, you
Oh,
know,
well,
all
I'm
that.
I'm
So
I'm very far from perfect, but aren't we all? But anyway, yes, I think that
yeah, well, perfect's underrated, isn't it?
yeah, I think so. Overrated? Anyway, yes. Well, Beth, this has been a fun discussion. I'm going to really take it to heart, and I'm going to rewrite my story and see which things are causing me to kind of have a little knee-jerk reaction. Or it's
Uh,
subtle though, just that little subtleness, and pay attention to my thoughts. And also, I think expecting wonderful things to happen is a really cool thing
yes,
to do.
Yes, yes, yes,
Like,
yes.
I expect something really wonderful. And you can ask for guidance if you're a person who believes that God
Uh-huh.
and angels, as I tend to do, are around you. I expect something wonderful. Show me something wonderful today. So I think let's ask for wonderful things,
Let's do that.
surprises.
I'm going to do that. I forget to do that every
Yeah,
day. Ask for
yeah,
a miracle.
right.
Like we just let's ask something wonderful.
Yep. Ask
I
for some
love
great
that. Say it again,
surprises.
Patty.
Ask for something wonderful, something that a sign that you can't miss, that things are surprises. Something wonderful is going to
Okay.
happen today in the
Okay.
morning
I like that.
in your
And
day.
then you
Yeah.
notice, and
Yeah.
we'll
And
notice
then
it and
notice
write
it.
it down. And
And
pretty soon,
then
all of you
give
will be able to
thanks also.
share.
Be grateful and give thanks when those wonderful things do happen, for sure.
You're
That's
right.
a big part of it. Yeah.
Oh, and then let me just, I just, if you want to reach me, anyone,
Hmm.
reach me at joyousmovement@gmail.com. Look for the book at www.joyouseverydayliving.com. And this is Hub for Humanity, www.hub, the number 4 humanity,
.com.
.com, and just be in touch with us, and we'll let you know when we can have your comments come in. And
Absolutely. And we're on Beth's 5th show.
fifth,
So hopefully you can go back to catch the previous ones,
yeah,
because you can join anytime and you'll get
yeah,
it. It'll be wonderful. But it's kind of fun to follow the different
Quince.
ideas that she's had and the points. So they're all there for you. They're going to be posted at hub number 4 humanity.com. And it's so fun, Twinny, to do the show for you. It is really a dream come true. We have to manifest some other miracles for us together. It's going to be great.
It sure is. Well, bye, Patty. What a pleasure to hang out with you, and a
Bye.
pleasure to hang out with everybody. We love being with you, and join us often.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Joyous Longevity. I'm Beth Amine, and I'm so honored to be part of the Young at Heart radio show with Patty T. And I give you your little longevity tip and happiness tip. And it's just wonderful to be here with you every week. So this week, we're going to talk about habits. So what would it be like if you woke up and you did not tell the same story that you tell every day about, oh, it's going to be like this, I'm going to have a little pain. We'll talk about that more in a minute. So last week we spoke about the happiness and joy of being really good to yourself, and we picked at least one thing you could do for yourself that would be fun and make you feel really loved. And then we took our love self the following session and joined in with others so that we really felt we had a community and we were part of something. And in our past few shows, we've also talked about the life-giving power of doing new things, being in the unknown, making changes, just the vitality that you get from really experiencing something that you might have been afraid of or that's a real stretch for you. So I'd like to go back to that topic of doing something new in just a little bit more of an expanded way. So, as I said in the beginning, when you wake up in the morning, do you tell the same old story? Like, oh, things aren't going to get better. It's just going to get worse. I have this pain and all that. And so you're repeating the past over and over rather than understanding any of your power to create a different reality for yourself. So, what if those thoughts that you think over and over were just habits and not what was really real for you? That you do have the power to change it, and maybe it doesn't have to get worse. Maybe with consistent thoughts, it could actually just get better. So this week, your practice. Every week you have a practice. I want you to pick one response that you habitually have to a situation and just change it up. In other words, if you're in the car and something always makes you mad, let it go and don't let it make you angry. Or if you really are in the habit of thinking that a condition that you have is never going to get better, think like, oh, my body has the power to heal itself. I've got millions of cooperative molecules, and I do have the power to at least create some positive change in my mind, or do something fun that will alleviate the situation, like maybe some movements or chess with a friend. So I want you to interrupt one habitual response to a situation, change it up, and see if you really do feel better. And your life becomes more pleasant. So be really brave. And you can even explore if there's a particular thing about yourself you'd like to change. You absolutely can. So what I'm picking for the week, just to let you know, is a lot of times I will wake up and I know that I need to pay attention to my body and stretching, and I should do a little breathing and all, but I'll go right to my emails or my phone and start answering stuff, and my body's not happy about it. So this week I'm going to do a pattern interrupt. And when I wake up, I'm actually going to pay attention to what my body wants in terms of stretching and meditation, and then do the other stuff. So what is your one habit that you would like to shift of the many habits we carry? And what are you going to do to create a different approach? I guarantee this is part of creating ongoing joy and lots of wonderful, expansive longevity. So tell a new story about your life. Change your habits that are not life-giving at any age. You can do it at any age, and this is powerful. You are the power in your own life. I'm Beth Amine. Thank you for being with me for this segment of Joyous Longevity. You can reach me at joyousmovement@gmail.com, or buy the book, Joyous Everyday Living, at www.joyouseverydayliving.com. Thank you so much. Change it up. We'll see how we all did next week. Bye.